Annyeonghaseyo, Taebak fam. Welcome back to Taebak Reacts TV, your front row seat to all things Korean entertainment, eats, travels, and of course, big Taebak energy. Well, I know I promised a full review of the show Trigger on Netflix, and I just wrapped it up a couple of days ago, and I just feel like my initial review stands. I loved the ending and I absolutely enjoyed the show, but what I mentioned in the previous review stands. So I don't think I need to change anything. I don't need to expand on anything. You pretty much know what my opinion of the show is. Of course, I'm trying to keep this spoiler free because I am sympathetic and I do respect people who don't like spoilers like myself. That being said, I do have another review because I managed to binge another show right after Trigger. And this show, I have to say, it caught me off guard in terms of its storyline. I wasn't expecting the kind of story that I ended up going through, but it certainly solidified its place among the top tier dramas that I have on my imaginary shelf. So we are going to be talking about LTNS. I am not going to expand on that acronym because you can go and search it online. I'm trying to keep this as clean as possible, all right? I don't want to get any strikes on YouTube, come on. So let's get into it. Are you ready? 지금부터 showtime! Okay, LTNS. Main premise of the drama is about a couple, a married couple, and how they go through their personal lives as a couple, right? And it starts off pretty steamy. Like the first opening scene wasn't what I was expecting, but it escalated pretty quickly, and then it kind of just jumps ahead 7 years later, right? Fast forward into their married life. They start off as boyfriend, girlfriend, and then they jump into their marriage, right? That's how it progresses in the first episode. From that point on, they discover that things aren't going swimmingly. And what I mean by that is their finances are pretty much shot, okay? They have very little in terms of savings. They're trying to scrape by, just like a lot of people I know, myself included, because, you know, rent ain't cheap. Rent is not cheap, right? And of course, I am working towards a goal where I can be financially independent. That aside though, leaving my personal life aside, this story is a reflection of our personal lives, right? And it kind of gives you a microscopic view of what a marriage is really like. And the details in the show, I got to tell you, the minor details, the behavioral details, absolutely impeccable. I have never seen a show that has cast a realistic light to date on marriages. I'm talking about in the realm of Korean dramas and TV shows. I've not seen that, okay? There are a few shows that kind of show you glimpses of what a marriage could be, but that's more with an exaggerated tone of suspense or comedy or drama. This, however, even though it's classified as a black comedy, it's quite realistic. Like the stuff that happens in the household is something that could happen potentially, right? But anyways, so the realism is one thing that really pulled me into the show. The second thing that pulled me into the show is just the subtle comedy, right? It's stuff that you don't expect to be funny, but it turns out to be really funny. And it made me laugh a lot of the times, right? Some of the conversations, I can't mention what those conversations were about. It's pretty much 18 plus, but you know, it's so funny because the characters that are having that conversation are characters that look seemingly innocent from the outside, but actually aren't. And it's also another great reflection of how women gossip. Okay, yeah, I gave it away. It's two women gossiping, and it's incredibly funny. Anyways, so that is also another element I really like. It's the subtle comedy, the stuff that doesn't, it's not slapstick. None of the comedy in this show is slapstick. I have not seen slapstick humor in this show. It's a lot of dry, witty, perfectly timed comedy. It's subtle, and it's when it happens, it hits you, right? And I absolutely loved it. The escalation or the progression from the mundane marriage lifestyle to adventure seeking, it happens over the span of 2 episodes, and it's incredible how that happens, right? And that's when stuff gets real, right? That's when things start to happen within this little household and even outside the household, because it affects other people. Now, here's the cool thing about this show. Just like Trigger, that had many layers in the show connecting different people into one node, right? And then bringing that node, expanding on it, and then creating this really awesome storyline. Just like that, LTNS does pretty much the same thing, right? There's different characters, and those characters tie back into the main characters and how their lives affect the main characters, and so on and so forth, right? Vice versa too, because the main characters are responsible for what happens to those supporting characters. Again, I'm not giving away the story, I'm just letting you know how this plot weaves. By the end of the show, I was left questioning a lot of things, not in a negative way, but more in a philosophical manner, right? It's more of like, if this were to happen, would this be similar to what I would experience? Stuff like that, right? It starts making you question the everyday mundane life that we all lead, right? So really, it's a really cool element in the show that makes you think, because you don't expect the ending. And again, this show is amazing for its unexpected plot twists. There are a lot of shows with predictable plot twists. However, this show executes plot twists with finesse, and it is something that you really do not expect. I guarantee you. Just when you think, oh, I think this is what's gonna happen. Nope. They throw in another curveball and another and another. It's just so cool. You know, the show reminds me of it reminds me of another black comedy movie, and it's a Hollywood movie, Burn After Reading. If you've never seen it, go watch that movie. It'll give you an idea of how this show is styled to be, right? It's a very interesting movie. Again, the comedy elements are unexpected, but they're subtle. And I think that the director of LTNS took some inspiration from that movie, because you could see it. I was watching LTNS, I was like, wait a minute, this kind of scene reminds me of that scene from Burn After Reading. Burn After Reading is with John Malkovich, one of the most talented actors I've ever come across in all entertainment. John Malkovich, Brad Pitt, I forget her name, the lady in that movie, I forget her name. She was in Fargo and the show Fargo. What was her name? Or was it the movie Fargo? I'm trying to remember. Was it the show or the movie Fargo? She was in it, but she's been in a lot of Coen Brothers movies. Yeah, this is a Coen Brothers movie, Burn After Reading. So go check it out. Highly recommended. And also LTNS, that's what we're talking about mainly. I was sort of distracted with Burn After Reading, but very similar styles, okay? So overall, I would give this show an 8.5 out of 10. Highly, highly recommended. Now, I know I've only covered shows that I recommend. I haven't seen shows that I absolutely dislike. I don't want to use the word hate. It's a very strong word, trying to keep things sort of neutral and positive at the same time. However, I am an honest reviewer, so I will give the show an 8.5 out of 10. Why am I knocking a few points off? Because I would have loved to see more. This show is only 7 episodes long, and I feel like it wasn't enough. I feel like there could be more. The plot could have been expanded more, right? It would be nice to see some side stories expand, like what happened to some of the other characters in the show, right? I would love to have seen that, right? And I think that was missing, but I get it. I get the intention. The intention is to keep the focus on this couple, which is what the show did. I could be wrong, but it also reminds me of the show Beef on Netflix with Steven Yeun and Ali Wong. Love that show too. And again, I can see similarities between that show and this one too. Very similar in terms of how they execute the plot, right? Beef is an anthology series. So this could be as well, because it features different stories in every episode, sort of connected, but at the same time, they're slightly different, right? So I could be wrong. I'm probably classifying it wrong. However, that's what I feel. That's my thought. Those are my thoughts on the show. I would go and watch it. It is available on TVING. If you have access to TVING, it's a service from Korea where you can watch Korean shows. If not, I'm pretty sure you'll find your own resources and will be able to watch the show. I'm not going to mention those resources because they're outside the scope of what I can and cannot talk about. So that being said, go check it out if you have the chance to go do that. And if you like content like this, if you like the stuff that I put out here, consider subscribing. Don't forget to smash that like button because it does me a huge favor. It really keeps me motivated to keep bringing you Taeba content. And that being said, I will see you guys in another episode, okay? Cheers. This is your host, Domino. I got my new fedora, so this might be a thing. We don't know yet. We'll see. I'll see you later. Cheers. Peace.